All right. Well, this is my best friend, Liza Gold. I thought I'd bring her in today to talk to Aricia and Brooke from the podcast, Even the Rich. Hey, Liza, what's up?
Hey, babe. How's it going?
Pretty good. Welcome to my quarantine.
Thank you. It's great to be there.
It's great to have you here.
On the Florida fields right now.
Good. So today we're talking to Aricia and Brooke from the Even the Rich podcast. They're two female comedians, and you know we love girl power, obviously. I'm excited. Are you excited?
Yeah, I can't wait.
Me too. All right, let's bring in Aricia and Brooke. You're watching Phil Alive on the Philadelphia Globe.
Shopping on Rodeo Drive, walking red carpets, flying on private planes and sitting courtside at the Lakers game. The glamorous life of the rich and famous. Or at least that's what they want you to think.
You guys don't actually believe that's the full story, right?
From the Royals to the Kardashians, and the Murdochs to the Kennedys, Even the Rich, a new podcast from Wondery, gives you the real inside scoop on the drama that keeps these families in the spotlight. We'll explore how these dynasties are built and the lengths they're willing to go to protect the family name.
I'm Aricia.
And I'm Brooke, and we're the hosts of Even the Rich.
We're comedians, former roommates, and best friends. We met parking cars for Hollywood A-listers.
And if you don't think that makes us qualified to host a show about money and power, then clearly you've never parallel parked a Lamborghini.
I guess you could say we're rich adjacent.
You could say that. This show is about a world where the stakes are high and the rules don't apply.
As the saying goes, more money, more drama.
I'm Jen Strogatz. This is my best friend, Liza Gold.
Hi, Jen.
Thank you for being with us at Phil Alive for the Philadelphia Globe today.
Of course.
Brooke and Aricia,
yep.
Got it from now on. We thought it would be fun to talk to you both together since you obviously love talking to each other and we obviously love talking to each other. Well, first of all, I wanted to ask you how you guys met and how you got into all of this.
We met parking cars. We worked for an all-girl valet parking company, and I was actually Aricia's boss, technically.
Yeah, the first and only time. Actually, it happened another time, but...
Yeah, she's very insubordinate. And we would work at houses all over Los Angeles, like super rich families, a lot of celebrities. And I was looking for a roommate, and we really hit it off. We have the same sense of humor. So I was like, hey, do you want to move in with me? And the rest is history.
Yep.
That's such a fun story.
Tie the knot.
Uh-huh. When did we tie the knot?
Tie the knot.
It's actually so funny you say that, because my husband, who was my fiance at the time, she came over for dinner. My parents were in town. She came over for dinner, and then we played an escape room. And my husband, or my now husband, was like, so how do you think the date's going? Is it going well? Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
That's so cute.
I get it. Jen and I call each other wifey. So
Yeah.
She's married and I'm not, so we're a throuple, we say.
That's what. Yeah.
That's exactly what we say. Yeah. Yeah.
I love
Perfect.
So why don't you both take a minute to tell us about your podcast?
Yeah. So Even the Rich, it's a show from Wondery. And what we are doing is according to the tagline that we love to say, is we're pulling back the curtain on these family dynasties. The idea being that we hear about them in the news all the time, in the tabloids, but we don't really get what happens underneath that all. And at the end of the day, they're people just like everyone else. And so we kind of finding the drama and the things that make them very similar to us is kind of where we're coming from.
Humanizing them.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Very cool. How did you get into this topic specifically for your podcast?
So this was actually an original idea by Wondery, and we saw a casting call. They were looking for comedic duos and friends. And so Aricia sent me a screenshot. She's like, we got to do this. And so often her and I talk about things we should do and we never do them. And this one, we're like, we're going to actually do this. And so we recorded an audition and we sent it into Wondery. We had like 3 rounds, I want to say, of auditions.
Yeah.
And I think for them, they really liked that we had this kind of background already with rich people. And it was just like, it was a really good fit. And her and I literally talk about this stuff all day anyway. So yeah, it really worked out. And it was, like I said, it was Wondery's idea. They already had the idea made up and they were just looking for a good team to host it.
You mentioned before that you were working for an all-girls valet company.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. And you said, so you were going into homes, around homes?
Yeah. So all different types of people would hire us for events, and the events would be weddings, funerals, house parties. And we saw our fair share of celebrities. Brooke has seen way more than me because she's been doing it a lot longer. But, you know, they would host these events and we would be parking these Lamborghinis and these insane cars and then get into my 2008 Honda Accord to go home. And it was just a very sharp juxtaposition of lifestyles of the rich and famous. Yep.
Yeah.
So did you get to see any dirty laundry in these homes?
You know, not really. I mean, we talk about, actually in episode 1 of the podcast, we worked an event at Chelsea Handler's house. And I think that event probably had the most stars, I would say, all in one place that we've done. And Jessica Alba and her husband were coming out and they were like, he was really drunk. He would not get on their shuttle. I think they had a shuttle, right? Aricia, to take them.
Yeah, they had it was like a big SUV that was taking them. Because we shuttled them down the hill and then,
He just would not get on the bus. And she was like so mad. He was so drunk. I think they ended up getting on separate buses. That's probably the most like drama we've seen. Another time, actually, Aricia wasn't there. We do a lot of events for Charlize Theron, and Denise Richards was there, and she was coming out to get into her car, and there was a ton of paparazzi, and she was like, oh no, the paparazzi are here. And so all the valets kind of like gathered around her and created a barrier to like get her in the car. And I was like, this is cool. It's like women helping women. We're like, you know, that's one of my favorite memories too from
empowering.
Yeah. I've never heard of a all women's valet actually. So
there's
that's
a couple of
fascinating.
them.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's, you know, it's a selling point for people like, oh, all girls. It's not like we were wearing like regular pants and polos. Like it wasn't, you know, like.
It wasn't like, hey.
Yeah, we were like rubbing our butts on seats or anything.
I would have thought they did have you in like mini skirts and thigh-high socks and jeans.
No,
thank God.
Yeah.
Well, so speaking of the all-women ballet, what has it been like for both of you to be women in the entertainment industry? I know you're both comedians, so what has that been like?
Aricia, I'll let you take this one.
It's been, you know, I know that it just, I feel like this is such a challenging question to answer just because you don't want it to be, you don't want the comedy and what your work is about to be focused on the fact that you're a woman. You want it to be equal. You want it to be, I'm out here doing comedy just like anybody else who's doing comedy. But I will say one of the challenges for sure is just worrying what other people think. And I don't know that that's specific to being a woman, but you have people that will say things or will react in certain ways and will receive feedback that I don't think we would get if we were men. And so that's been kind of interesting trying to navigate on this platform. I mean, we've both been doing comedy for many years. The level has been elevated in terms of who we're doing comedy for. It's not just a black box theater in LA that 3 of our friends show up to because we bribe them with alcohol. So it's a little bit different, and the feedback is mostly overwhelmingly positive, but occasionally we get some feedback that feels like it would not come if we were men.
Understood. Yeah.
I agree.
But I'm having fun, so whatever.
Good for you.
Awesome. So let's talk about your podcast. tell us about, so had you recently talked about the Murdochs, is my understanding?
Yeah,
Yes,
we
that
just
was
finished that.
Yeah, we finished that. So we've done the royals. We did Princess Diana and Meghan Markle and kind of the similarities between them. That was a season 1 4-episode arc. And then we just finished the Murdochs, and now we're moving into Jay-Z and Beyonce.
So fun.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Where do you get your dirt?
We have a team at Wondery who does all this research. They're amazing. We use a lot of books, a lot of autobiographies, documentaries, which our show actually will drop in sound bites, which a lot of shows don't do. That's something a little different for our show, which I actually love that aspect of it. So
Can you
yeah,
say more about it? They drop in sound bites?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so like we'll set up like an interview that Beyonce did, for example, just on a TV show, and we'll set it up, and then they play the actual audio from the interview to kind of set the drama, set the tone.
Yeah, no, I've noted, I listened to a few of them, of the royal ones, and I liked that aspect that you guys do, because it makes it more like suspenseful in a way, but also more just like reading a book. It's very soothing. Like, both of you have wonderful voices, and but having the sound bites in there sort of makes it like a movie too. You can visualize it, so that's nice you guys do that.
Really.
What's, I know you said, that this podcast offers a way to humanize celebrities, and also a little bit like TMZ, where you get the down low. So for each of you, what is your, what's the angle you come from? Are you wanting to look at some of their shortcomings? Are you wanting to look at family internal family rivalry? Are you wanting to look at family dysfunction? I mean, what do you want to be shedding light on?
All of that. That's pretty much all we do. Yeah, I mean, so we're branded by most people as like a gossip podcast, and we're kind of both trying to do our best to be like, it's not gossip. We're doing our best to really research these stories and tell these stories. And we look at the kind of, especially with the Murdochs, all the fighting that was going on between the siblings and their battle to take over when Rupert dies. And with like Princess Diana and Meghan Markle, a lot of that was the rifts that go on within the royal family and the Queen, and how she feels about certain people, and the way the tabloids really like tore them both down. So we try not to we give our funny commentary on it, but we never try to judge them, I guess, in too harsh of a way. I don't know, is that fair to say, Aricia?
Well, it depends on what they do.
True.
It's gotta be a tough line to draw as a comedian.
Yeah.
You're
Yes.
entitled to judge.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a good point.
I think Brooke really said it well, in that, it is all of what you said. But at the end of the day, we're trying to be as objective as possible, because obviously there's going to be multiple sides of any story. And it is a big part of what the show is trying to do, is show these people past everything that catches a headline. So we talk about the mansions, we talk about the insane wedding dresses that are thousands and thousands of dollars, but we're also talking about, Princess Diana and the trouble she had with her stepmother, which I had never heard about. So things like that, like, we're just trying to kind of get a little bit deeper into the nitty-gritty.
Behind the TMZ stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, I like that. That's cool. I learned stuff that I never knew. So what do you guys think is the biggest takeaway that you've learned from, first of all, the royal family, and then the Murdochs?
Well, like Aricia said, the stuff with like Princess Diana and her stepmom was crazy to me. All the stuff that happened with them and their rivalry, which I had no idea. Like, Princess Diana seems so sweet and quiet, and then when you like pull back, you're like, she really was tough. Like, she wasn't taking as much as we really thought she was taking, I think. And with the Murdochs, literally everything about the Murdochs was shocking to me. Like, I didn't know at first about the tabloid scandal Aricia did about them like hacking into a kidnapping victim's phone, like a 13-year-old girl. I was like, this happened? I had no idea. Just the tabloid stuff with the Murdochs blew my mind.
Yeah. I was definitely the same thing about Princess Diana and her mom, or stepmother, but I was also really just kind of taken aback at how little he cared about her. Like Charles was never around, and it just basically neglect. And I can't imagine being in her situation, being so young and being put into this very public position and not having the person who put you there backing you up in any way, shape, or form. It just made my heart break for her. And as for the Murdochs, everything as well. I mean, I didn't know much about them. I knew more about Diane and Meghan, but every episode I was blown away by what I learned.
Yeah.
I know more about Roger Ailes than I do the Murdochs, just because, the Bombshell movie and then the show.
Right. Yeah.
But, so I forgive me because I did not hear the Murdochs podcast, but was he discussed at all?
Yes. Yeah. We discussed his whole downward spiral, basically, which is tough. I mean, like Aricia said, we're covering these families that people know so much about already and have very strong opinions about. So it's tough for us to kind of, no matter how biased we are, someone will have a problem with something we're saying. And that's kind of what we're realizing. Like there's so many strong opinions already, especially around the Murdochs and Fox and all this stuff. So yeah, I mean, we definitely talk about Roger Ailes and all the, the accusations and his departure from Fox. And yeah, we definitely touch on that.
Yeah, I think that there's, I know you say you want to shy away from being judgmental. I think that there's no way you can do what you do without generating controversy. And maybe that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, there are some things that I think, like, obviously it's universal or should be universal that, assault in any way is awful. And so we have no problem standing on that platform.
That's an opinion.
But yeah, exactly. And so that's what happens is we get this feedback. So it's just, you're like, you know what, this is something that I'm standing by and I'm okay with that. Other things we're a little less vocal about how we feel and we just kind of present the facts as they are. But we're learning to toe the line and find out where that line is. And
well, I think that I'm assuming that the two of you will evolve as you do this, right? So you're kind of just dipping your toes in the water right now and on one, your comfort level, and two, receptivity of the audience and feedback from your listeners, you'll be able to move in one direction or another.
Yeah, for sure.
What kind of feedback have you gotten so far?
Mostly very positive.
Yeah, people want Aricia to stop singing. That's the big takeaway.
They hate our accents, and I don't blame them.
So,
are you a singer?
No. No,
only in the car and shower, and I kill it in both places.
No, there's just like sometimes there's references to music, and we'll like sing or whatever. But for the first episode, we tried our hand at British accents, just like here and there, like with the Royals. And then the second season with the Murdochs, we do Australian accents. And actually, most people that reach out, like everybody that's reached out to us personally is super nice. And they'll be like, I love the podcast. The accents could use some work. So it's like, even the people that love us don't necessarily love the accents. So that's probably the biggest feedback is the accents for sure. But, and we also we try our best not to look at it too much because we're not used to, this is our first time doing a show on such a large scale. Mm-hmm. And so we're learning to kind of not look at it too much. Don't take any of the negative, because you can really get in your head about that stuff, Yeah. And it's like, absolutely. Especially as female comedians, people are like, women aren't funny, it's like,
right.
Yes, they are.
Totally.
Yeah.
So who's up next?
Jay-Z.
Oh, yeah. Jay-Z.
Yeah.
I want to hear about this. Do you know any of the content for that yet, or are you going to find out?
We've recorded the first episode, so we're a quarter of the way in. I'm already learning stuff that I didn't know, and I think Brooke and I agree that this has so far been the one we've had the most fun on. And just, I think that, I don't know what it is. I think it's just that we might be closer connected in terms of music. Like, we know their music, we've been fans of their music for a long time, but I'm enjoying learning about them. That's for sure.
We start the series with the elevator incident and all of that drama, and then
I
don't
know what the elevator incident is, and
we got to tune into Even the Rich episodes.
I'm sold. I'm sold.
It's just Solange and Jay-Z kind of got into a fight in an elevator
at the Met
Gala.
Okay.
It was
I
like
faintly
10 years
remember.
ago.
Yeah, I faintly remember that in a weird way, but yes.
Yeah, so we dive into that first, and then we so usually with the show what we do is we start with close to the present and like a big thing that happened in the news, and then we jump to their childhood and their upbringing and how they got together, and then we come back to the present. So that's kind of there's so much about, Jay-Z's childhood that I had no idea about, and he had a really tough upbringing.
Yeah.
So the first episode dives into both of their backgrounds.
Interesting. I actually don't know anything about either of their childhoods, so I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, it's super interesting.
There's been a lot of backlash and anger, since the start of quarantining and the pandemic about the way that celebrities present their lives. Fury about their sort of in-your-face wealth and privilege. And I think it's, that people are hungry to see the other side, their humanity. And I think in general, I know this isn't your only aim, but I think as a society, people like to see celebrities fall on their sword, so to speak. We like to know that they're human. So I think that this is probably, I can't think of a better time for you to be, launching this new podcast series.
Yeah. And of course there's people that hear the title and are like, no way, I don't want to give them any more attention. But I think once people listen, and we didn't plan to launch during a pandemic, it just happened that way. We had already started recording, and most of the feedback we've gotten is this is a great way for us to laugh and kind of not take the world so seriously right now. So that's, and when it first launched, it was a little slower than it probably would have been. So we were a little bit nervous about that, but then it really picked up and people are kind of using it as an escape. And we, we talk about serious stuff. We talk about Roger Ailes and, the death of Princess Diana, but we try to do it in as light of a way as we can. We want people to feel like they're hanging out with two of their friends, chatting about these families. And I think we do a pretty good job of staying in that vibe.
I would say you definitely do, from what I've heard. And Liz, I think that was a really good point you just made. I think that right now is an ideal time, whether people, have realized it yet or they're now catching on, but it's a great time to sort of show people this side of this glitzy, glamoury lifestyle, because, coronavirus is it's non-discriminating and it can affect everybody. And I think that this is really interesting. And obviously you didn't plan to be in the middle of a pandemic. I don't think you did, but yeah, so I think it came out well for you guys, and I'm excited to hear more.
Thank you.
And for people to see more of you guys.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Do you two get to pick? I know you said that you have a team of researchers, kind of sifting through the data, but do you two get to decide who you want to talk about?
We've had meetings to kind of pitch out ideas of families. We haven't come across any that we're not interested in. So it's kind of been a very collaborative environment. We're going to be doing the Kennedys. We'll probably be doing the Kardashians at some point. And so it's, yeah, exactly. So it's been very, we pitch out families that we're thinking of, they'll tell us, and everyone that's been mentioned has been somebody we're very interested in talking about.
Yeah.
Who's coming to mind right now? I have a not so secret obsession with the Olsen Twins.
Oh my God,
Join the club.
Aricia
Yeah.
loves Olsen movies.
I just watched,
Stop.
oh my God, I literally just watched It Takes Two. Like 20 minutes ago, I finished watching it on
Stop
Netflix.
it.
I'm not kidding.
It's on Netflix?
Yes, it's on Netflix. I just finished watching it.
Well,
Obsessed with them.
Mary-Kate is in the midst of divorcing her husband right now. And
Yes.
people who live ultimate shroud of secrecy. We know nothing about them other than the clothes they have on, which I also worship. And so I would kill to learn more about their private lives.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we know nothing. And do they count Dynasty?
I mean,
I feel like, they would. They built $1 billion empire as children. I don't know how. Yeah. So I say yes.
You know what? Actually, forget just the twins. They've got their siblings, right? They have their
Elizabeth Olsen. There's like a whole clan that we don't know about until they star in a movie.
And they've got they've got their line at Kohl's, and they have their multi-million-dollar clothing company, The Row.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm surprised Aricia hasn't.
We request
I actually
the Olsens
have a running list. I'm gonna add it to it.
Yeah, we request Olsens, please.
Okay, all right.
Who do you have on your list? Who else would you like to talk about?
I've also been watching Mad Men, and there's an arc with the Hilton, the guy that created the Hilton hotels, Conrad Hilton, I think.
Hilton family.
So I feel like the Hiltons,
Paris and all of them.
Yeah.
Who is related to Kyle Richards from the Real Housewives?
Real
And then Kim,
Real Housewives, not Desperate.
right? Real Housewives, yeah. She's sisters. They have the
Kathy.
same, right, with Kathy, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's a huge family.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting.
I would love to do the Hiltons.
I really,
They're on my
They're
list.
on my, yep. Them and the Gettys, which we're planning to do, but I find the kidnapping morbidly fascinating, just how all of that played out. So,
which Aricia knows more about. I didn't even know about. So, hopefully,
So,
it seems like there's a lot of these dynasties are people with huge financial empires. What about the Madoff family? Not that they're sitting on a throne of money anymore, but
yeah, that hasn't even actually been brought up. I'm surprised that it hasn't, but that I would love to dive into that. That would be really good.
Yeah.
Sure. We've also talked about doing Robert Durst. They had the Jinx on HBO and his whole murder thing. He's not necessarily a dynasty, but Wondery brought him up, and I was like, yes, let's do it, because I loved the Jinx and I could talk about it all day. So we're not I guess they don't necessarily have to be dynasties. Some of them are dynasties, some are just famous people who had some crazy stuff go down.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you may, depending on how big this gets, you could at times be looking at an individual person rather than a family.
Yeah, they're talking about doing, instead of 4-episode arcs, maybe here and there doing just 1 episode on somebody that doesn't have too much of a backstory. So I think JFK is going to be maybe a 1 episode at some point down the line.
Doesn't really have any family.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he was a loner.
Yeah, I know. Wondery, I guess they maybe they've researched and found that there isn't enough juicy stuff for 1 episode, but we are going to talk about Jackie Kennedy and her rivalry with her sister. That's going to be an arc too.
That's a fun.
Yeah.
Well, that's fun. It sounds like you have content for years, so God bless with that. Mazel tov. This was great. Thank you so much for talking with us. I'm so excited to see more from you both.
Thank you. This was a lot of fun. It's 4 friends chatting.
I know, this was really great.
Chilling.
Yeah, this was awesome.
Yeah.
Thank
I feel
you
like
so
I
much.
actually socialized today.
I know, I know, right?
It's an accomplishment nowadays.
I feel good. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
good.
yeah. You showered and is socialized. I mean,
I did, and I left it wet to prove it. So
Right.
Making fun of her wet hair before you.
yeah.
awesome.
So,
Both so much for joining us today and for letting us interview you. I'm really excited for your next series to come out. I
Thank
will
you.
to learn about the Carters and this infamous elevator incident.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Thanks for having us.
thank you both so much. Okay, well, that was awesome. Yeah, that was my socialization hour for the day, and I feel great about that. What do you think?
I loved it. I thought they were fabulous women. I think that their podcast is so cool. Like I mentioned during the interview, I think the timing of their launch was beyond ideal. So I can't wait to tune in and see what they talk about next. They were really fun to talk to, and they just seemed so easygoing and down to earth. I feel like the four of us could hang out anytime.
I do too. I felt completely comfortable with them. That was really fun, honestly. So
Yeah.
thank you, Aricia and Brooke, so much. And everybody needs to tune in to Even the Rich podcast on Wondery.com. And we're looking forward to it. Thanks for watching. This is Phil Alive on the Philadelphia Globe. I'm Jen Strogatz. Liza Gold over here.